Hey everyone, this is Hurricane Hal with CNC Catastrophe and National Claims on the beach here in Galveston with an action-packed tropical update and sand map for you. But before we hop to it, I gotta show you my situation here. This is kind of crazy. I'm here on the beach in Galveston where we know that we've had some tropical weather. We have a kite surfer out here of all things. And then over to my other side, we have Pier 61, the pier that a part of the pier fell off into the Gulf and it was on international news. That's right there. Kite surfers over here, and as you can see, I'm kind of surrounded by squalls. I tried to draw y'all a sand map down by 33rd Street about 20 minutes ago and it got washed away. I was in a really heavy squall, so I'm literally running out here between squalls because I wanted to draw you a sand map and explain this storm. It's a complex storm. It's been impacting us for several days, and I wanted to explain really the science behind it, what we've seen and what we can expect. So let's hop to it. We have a sand map over here, and here I've done my best to draw the Western Gulf over here, and I'm gonna put, you can see the coast there, I'm gonna put city of Galveston right here, and you can see Galveston Bay and the rest of Galveston. So we have this system, Tropical Storm Beta. I'm gonna throw a frisbee out here to show you where Beta was, and Beta was a bit lopsided. Beta had really a large tropical storm force winds to the north of it, and so when Beta was centered out here in the Gulf, we had this really big wind field. And that wind field was pushing a lot of waves. There's something called swell. When waves basically are pushed and they outrun the wind field, they're called swell. And so getting into the day, Saturday night, we had these big waves pushing towards the coast. And so we had something called wave run-up. So what happens is, if you can imagine, there's this big wind field that's pushing water towards the coast. Wave number one arrives, and before wave number one can drain, wave number two comes in. And so that basically raises the water level all along the coast. So all along here, really north of Freeport, Galveston Island, Bolivar Peninsula, really up into Louisiana, we had elevated saltwater levels on Saturday, and we had big waves coming in. And then getting into Sunday, Beta was moving a little closer to the coast. The wind field pushed on shore. That's where we had our big surge. We had a big time surge push in, generally 3.5 to 4 feet, all along the coastal areas here. Southern part of Galveston Island, San Luis Pass, Sea Isle, Jamaica Beach, all the way up to Galveston City. And the Gulf Coast communities here on Bolivar Peninsula saw this big push of salt water Sunday night getting into Monday morning. However, and Beta was still approaching the coast. Then getting into Monday afternoon, Beta basically came up here and the center of circulation was over. It made a landfall. Center of circulation was over by Victoria. And that's where things changed. Check this out. Another mechanism that happened when Beta was offshore, the winds around a tropical cyclone are counterclockwise. So we had this strong north wind for days along the coast. There's something you can look up called Ekman transport. Basically, water deflects to the right of the wind direction in the northern hemisphere. So not only do we have these big waves pushing against the coast, this wave run-up, but we also have these strong north winds, water deflecting to the right. That was another reason we had a lot of salt water push up here on the Gulf side of Galveston Island and Bolivar Peninsula. That was really Sunday into Sunday night, early Monday. But we really didn't have a forcing mechanism to push a lot of water into Galveston Bay until the storm made landfall Monday afternoon, and getting into Monday night, the center of circulation was south of Houston. So Houston's kind of up here. And so the center of circulation was south of Houston, again, counterclockwise circulation. That was putting winds then Monday night into Tuesday morning and from the east, and that gave a forcing mechanism to push water into Galveston Bay. So here is the complex thing about this storm. If you're on the Gulf side of Galveston Island, if you're in the Gulf side of Bolivar Peninsula, your highest salt water was on generally Monday morning. But if you're in Galveston Bay, you didn't really get this push in here until Monday night and Tuesday morning when the center of circulation was on land. And so some communities in Galveston Bay, particularly our friends, say on Bolivar Peninsula, on the bay side, saw the highest storm surge getting into Tuesday morning instead of Monday morning. And then to add a little more complexity, maybe you're not even in a low-lying area. Maybe you're in southern Metro Houston, or you're over here by maybe Friendswood or League City, and you're a little bit inland. You maybe got your biggest flooding on Tuesday afternoon if one of these huge squalls set up on top of you. So really several complex hazards hitting at different times for different people. So that's what made it complex. To answer a few of the questions, Tina and Polly asked, is there a chance that we're going to see more saltwater push into Galveston Bay tonight? That's a big concern for a lot of people because Tuesday morning, they woke up to more storm surge and more saltwater flooding than it did on Monday morning. I don't see it happening because really that stronger eastward wind component has died down. And what happened was late Sunday, early Monday, we kind of had this dome of saltwater set up along the Gulf Coast, along the Gulf Coast side. Then when winds turned to the east, blowing from east to west, it pushed some of that elevated water into the bay. Now things have kind of equaled, and the saltwater levels are falling everywhere on the Gulf side and the bay side. I do not see any reason why we're going to have elevated saltwaters above what we've already seen in Galveston Bay tonight. The main area I'm concerned about for potential flooding could be some areas around Nassau Bay or Clear Lake, because there were some really heavy bands that set up around Friendswood, Pearland, southern part of Houston, and that drains down into the Nassau Bay, Clear Lake area. So if you are near drainage of bayous and canals and channels that come from the southern part of Houston or in the I-45 corridor, there still could be some water level rises. But in general, if it's just saltwater rises, everything's coming down. Kayreen, my dear friend from Sea Isle, she asked, are we looking at maybe 1 to 3 more inches of rain? I know there have been talks about several more inches of rain. I don't think we'll see more than an inch, really. There's a lot of dry air. Also, I want to show you this. Where a lot of times, so if this is the center of circulation, basically, we often think of the eye or the center of circulation as having the worst impacts. But in this case, this is kind of centered down between Matagorda Bay and Freeport. But there's so much dry air with this system that a lot of dry air is wrapping in here around the south, really in the west and the south. And so dry air is coming in. We had a bunch of breaks of sunshine here on Galveston Island this afternoon. And so we often think when the eye arrives, that's the worst. In this case, as the eye gets close to you, there's a lot of dry air, and the big rain and wind, well, there really aren't any big wind impacts anymore. It's a tropical depression, max winds of 30, but the big rain impacts are really lopsided and well off now over more by Beaumont, Port Arthur, and north of Houston. And so getting into tonight and Wednesday, the center will get closer to the Houston-Galveston corridor, but I expect very few impacts. We'll get the occasional heavy squall, but in general, the biggest flooding, the biggest impacts from this have passed. So quite a complex storm. Again, depending where you lived, it depended on what hazard you faced and the worst time that you faced it. Again, some people saw their worst flooding Monday morning, other people Tuesday morning or even Tuesday afternoon if you were near one of these heavy squalls that set up. Before we sign off here, I just wanted y'all to get to watch again the scene from Galveston Island. Yes, we have a kite surfer out there. We have Pier 61 with a little bit lower pier than it used to, or a shorter pier. But we're basically seeing some breeze. We saw some breaks of sunshine. You wouldn't really know that there's a named storm anywhere near. It would just seem like a night with some showers and some breaks. In fact, over the next 24 hours, upper Texas coast, I think you'll have more relatively calm weather than you will stormy weather. But we will have a few big squalls, and watch out for that tonight if you're out driving around. These squalls can put down a lot of rain in a short amount of time, but expect a lot of breaks of sunshine getting into Wednesday. And pretty neat down here. You know, if you can get down to the coast and look, there's often really cool seashells that wash in with these big storm events as well. Anyway, the last thing I wanted to do before I sign off, I'm Hurricane Hal, Dr. Hal Needham. I live here in Galveston. If you've been impacted by Tropical Storm Beta at all with flooding or anything like that, let me know. I work with CNC Catastrophe and National Claims. Not only do we do a lot of risk assessment and weather forecasting and get out before the storm to help make communities more resilient, we help a lot of people get back on their feet as well afterwards. So if you need flood adjusters, if you need anyone to help with the process afterwards, just give me a shout, comment on the post. Anyway, thanks so much everyone for tuning in. I know it's been a really long-term event. It's been a long tropical season. We're into the Greek alphabet, and I think a lot of us just want the season to wrap up. So anyway, it doesn't look like anything imminent is coming to the Gulf. Hopefully we have a couple days to weeks, or maybe hopefully the rest of the season, to just relax and recover and get back on our feet. This is Hurricane Hal signing off from Galveston. Everyone have a fantastic evening.